Right. Now, unless you're doing tests to make sure, right, masks really help with COVID and stopping the spread, it's been spreading since March. Maybe whether you wear a mask or not, you're just promoting that over not wearing one. Does that mean if it's still spreading, it matters whether you wear a mask or not? You don't know. You don't know. See, you're not reporting, I know, if the people who are catching it are wearing a mask at all, or not. You're not asking certain questions. You're promoting wearing a mask anyway. I know. Do you understand what you're doing there? Yet it's still spreading anyway. You think now in-laws going in to see elderly people aren't wearing a mask? I don't know. If the relative is still getting it and dying from COVID, well, where they get it from? Again, the in-law and the in-law. Even if they wore a mask, right? Why? You're not sure how it's even spreading. I know. Do you understand? You're giving the virus the power. It's something you don't understand about how things of that nature work, right? I guess. The Bible warns you about faith and how it works. One, if two of you shall agree as touching anything, it shall be. So that means for COVID to start, patient zero must believe he had it, and the patient he gave it to must believe they got it from him. Why? Because they started having trouble breathing, blah, 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 blah. Started having a fever, blah, 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 blah. Over 100.4. Not 101.4, but 100.4, right? Which is elevated, from 99, 8.8, right? Yeah. A little over 2.2 degrees, right? Yeah. I ain't saying that, right? But you're looking for first what symptoms you even have it, right? Well, there's no reason for you just to get it unless you're around someone who has it either. So if a person that hasn't been around someone with COVID, they don't have it at all. Well, no, they don't. Duh. 292 million people don't have the virus. You're focusing on the minority who does. Because it's growing. Because people are wearing masks and it's still growing, right? They're doing everything you're saying and it's still growing. Are you calling them liars? Then? You don't know why it's spreading, you keep saying as well. Because we're trying to follow your suggestions, right? Though young people who have it might not be affected the same as the elderly, who are probably the ones really dying from it, right? Exactly. Those with underlying health problems already are dying from it, right? Well, again, you got to come in contact with someone who has it and know they have it for it to get to you, right? And start having the symptoms first, dumbass, right? Or you don't have it at all. No. Right. A cough ain't COVID either. And let me clear my throat. That's what that means, right? But see, your total negativity and helping evil win, right? You understand? The virus is winning in your mind, right? Anyway. Even though there's more people that would have to infect, like a real pandemic, right? See, the population was smaller and not as large when the Spanish flu hit in the 1900s, right? Early 1900s, right? And it was more devastating, right, than this problem because, right, of how rapidly it really spread, right, among the real population at the time, right? And the number of people, right, percentage wise, right? Percentage wise, not even 1%, because the percentages go up. What is 10% of 200,000, Donald? 20,000, right? What is, again, 25% of 200,000? 50,000, right? Now, if I'm selling my house for 200,000, Donald, and you screw me out of $50,000, am I going to be happy with you or pissed off with you? Pissed off with you. But I don't have a choice. You're controlling the market for me. I know. You're forcing me to sell to you because no one else wants to buy the damn house, right? Okay. So you forced me to sell to you, and I'm going to be pissed off with you, and I'm not going to like you very much. You screwed me out of $50,000. See it that way, why don't you? Right. Yes, you made $50,000 off of my house. Congratulations. But you also screwed me out of $50,000, in my opinion. My house is worth $200,000, and I can't get that amount from you. You're forcing me to sell that to you for under the market value. I don't have a choice if someone else wants to buy the house with you, I guess. Ain't that what you're kind of making people do? This is for educational purposes, by the way, and how people screw people over. And why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Mm-hmm. You screwed me out of $50,000 out of a $200,000 market value house. I'm not going to be happy with you. No. But I also don't have a choice. You're the only one showing any interest in the house. You're not controlling the market that way either. That if someone else wants to buy the house, say for even 175, right, you won't let them buy it. You're bullying them out of the sale, right? So you don't have to pay 180,000 to get the house, right? You see what I mean there? And then you would only make 10% profit, right? See what I mean? I wouldn't mind selling it for even 170 versus 150 loss myself, right? You understand? But I'm not going to be happy if you do. Now, the reason I can use that example is that's what my grandma's house sold for when we showed up at the seminar, right? You held. That's what your sales pitch was, right? You used the same example, right? So guess what? Educational wise, I can too. You screwed my grandma and our family out of $50,000, whoever bought that house. Not saying it was you personally, by the way. But whoever bought the house bought it for 25% below market value, right? That screwed someone else out of getting some money too, right? If they had to divide the 155 ways too, right? See, with 200,000, you can get almost close to 40,000 apiece, right? That's 10,000 more, right? And anything above 50,000 gets you a little bit more, right? Anything below it, and you're taking the money I'm supposed to be able to make off my house, and you're stealing it from me, in my opinion, right? You understand? You're the thief. I know. You're the robber stealing the value of my house. And conning me out of $50,000 I'm supposed to make off selling my house, right? Because you're controlling the market as well. You're telling people, I want this property, I want to buy it for $150,000, and there ain't nothing they can do about it. Bet. And then, educationally, and by the way, even your material is under copyright fair use. And yes, it is. Just everything is. And that's at least normally 10%. See, 10% goes to your manager. Well, 10% goes to fair use too, right? Without being said, right? You don't have to make a law for what percentage you can use to fair use. If you pay your manager 10%, right, that's usually how much goes to fair use without being said. Now that's why I'm teaching you music lessons on YouTube, and copyright law doesn't prevent that. It's not infringement then. I guess it's only infringement, alright, if like in school, I only perform the piece and don't show you the practice with the piece, right? Well, if I'm showing you the practice with the piece, right, and do a final performance of the piece, right, that's legal too. It's only if you don't show the practice, right, and how you're teaching people to sing, that it becomes, again, a performance for money only, right? See, there's rules that govern whether you're doing it educationally or not, right? It's do you include other things? Like, see, say you know the measure is 4/4 time, right? That's fractions, right? 4/4 means the quarter note gets 4 beats per minute, right? See, I'm teaching you that, right? Whether you know it or not. Even if you know it, it's an educational piece, right? Because I'm telling you, the quarter note gets 4 beats per minute, and we both know it does, right? But it's not for you who knows what you're doing. It's for those who don't know what they're doing, right? Right. Yeah. Or don't want to learn it as well. See, some people think they know it all. When only God knows it all, and He's telling you if you're going through this, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're not doing something right. No. Whatever you're doing, the virus is still spreading. Even the masks aren't as effective as you want them to be, or it wouldn't spread as badly. You think the family members where the people are still dying aren't wearing masks by now? If they're wearing masks and it's still spreading, it could even be airborne like an outbreak. And hey, if it's airborne, anyone can eventually get it, right? Even if you wear a mask. The mask, okay, with it being airborne, becomes the contaminant, right? It's contaminated too. So when you go to remove it and you rub your eye in removing it, you get it too, right? The mask ain't gonna stop the spread then. No, idiot. Like I told you about wearing goggles and the mask, that will be more beneficial for you. And you remove the mask first and then the goggles, right? But only remove the side and don't touch your eye, and wash your hands before you touch your eye or your body again, especially eye, nose, and mouth, right? Or you're not doing it properly. Now, the best thing to do when you come in, period, is remove the mask and immediately wash your hands, right? For 20 seconds to 30 seconds. I would advise 30 seconds just to make sure. then touch your body. Unless you know you ain't come in contact with someone that's got it, too. Not everybody has it either, right? 2.9, whatever you want to call it, 100 million people, and don't have it. Don't have it at all. You're not focusing on that. You're only focusing on those who have it, right? To stop the spread. But what you're doing ain't stopping the spread, so there's something wrong with what you're doing. Even if you're wearing a mask, you just don't want to admit it, right? Not admitting something ain't working still means it ain't working. If it ain't working, you're just wanting people to wear a mask now. You understand what you're doing there? You're kind of bullying them into it. You think it works, so let's make everybody wear a mask. It's safer, but it's still spreading despite that. You think only people not wearing a mask are spreading it? You don't know. You're not doing a questionnaire to find out, are you? I don't know. Well, that's what you got to do to find out how it's spreading, right? You ask them, do you wear a mask before you get it? And if they say, yeah, I know. It didn't matter if they wore a mask. If they say no, okay, that's what spread it, but the person also had it and was around them, right? Who is the carrier of the virus, right? See, you got to really research it too, I know. By now, even in the nursing homes, whoever's still dying has to wear a mask. If it's still spreading, it's spreading differently than you think it is, and it's killing people still, right? See, you're not releasing all the information either. You're holding back key issues. When you do that, you're lying about how it's spreading. Period. Don't matter. When you do that, you hurt everyone who's getting it still. I know. And you're the problem. The whole country thinks they know the solution when it's still spreading. So no, obviously you don't. Obviously you don't. You don't know why it's still spreading. And it shouldn't be. What happened with New Zealand? It's not spreading, it's gone now. They ain't even worried about it. They're back to normal, but not us. Oh, no. Why not? Not other countries. Why not? What are you doing wrong? You're doing something wrong that the virus is spreading still, right? Not the virus itself, not the people who have it, but not an understanding how it's really spreading. Might not matter if you have a mask or not. Right? Depending on how you remove the mask as well. That's important too, right? Because see, the mask can become contaminated on the outside if it's airborne, idiot. You don't think so? Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can. And in removing it, if you remove it wrong, if you remove it like this, or you do something and you touch the part that's contaminated, you can get the virus too. All it takes. If you rub your eyes, nose, or mouth. Right? Am I telling you something wrong that's not medically sound? No. That's what the virus is spreading. See, when you touch this area, all right, if you didn't wash your hands when you came in last night and someone had COVID, you don't know it, right? And they don't know it, right? Because by now, you're asymptomatic, right? Now, I never had a fever. I never went to 104. I did go to 99 once. That's not even I don't know, 0.6, I think, right? Twice. Got a little hot. But it could be something else, but not COVID, right? And quickly it was fought off, whatever it was. I know it was. Right. It also depends on your immunity. And you're also lying about when the virus really came out, which is 1960. And see, that virus has been around longer than they're telling you. So you could have, say, a weaker strain of it, right? And it still might can kill your elderly relatives, right? Who you go to see at the nursing home. But you're not still wearing the mask when you go to the nursing home. Yes, mandatory. So if the person is still getting the COVID, what's going on there, right? Someone's a carrier for it, but they don't know. They don't know. But they're still wearing the mask. They're still wearing the mask. Probably too, right? And still their person is dying from it, right? Getting infected by it. How? Mm-hmm. You're saying the mask shouldn't do that, but you're wrong. Obviously, it is doing that anyway. I know. But why did it work in New Zealand and not here? Right? They're virus free. That don't make sense. No, it don't. If it works in one country, what they did, why can't we do the same thing as them? I know. To stop the spread, right? First, guess what? All 300 million people should be tested immediately to find out if they got COVID or not. First thing you need to do, right? See, some people might have had it for a long time and don't know. They think it's the flu every year. Mm-hmm. They're getting when it's COVID, right? You're not thinking of it that way either. You're not thinking outside the box. You're seeing the spread of it, but you're not explaining why it's still spreading when we're doing what you're telling us to do. Mm-hmm. Well, why do you think they're gathering in crowds? They don't think they have the virus. But why don't they think they have the virus? They don't know they came into contact with someone who already had the virus. But how did they get the virus? From someone who came in contact with someone who had the virus. But they didn't go on a cruise to China. Right, they didn't. So where'd they get the virus? Their dog, their cat, their pet was bitten by something that had the virus, like a bat? Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, that's how the virus spreads. Something that has the virus has to give it to you. Something you're around that has the virus as well, and then it spreads to you, right? It's also spread by contact with animals, right? You're denying that part of it, right? It could even be Fluffy, your dog, who's giving it to you unknowingly. See, bats feed at night when you're all asleep. They also have something in their saliva that kind of keeps the blood from coagulating. Sorry. It's like with Morbius, which is about to come out too, right? Well, anyway. I've heard of it. Well, bats and nocturnal creatures that feed on blood of that nature. Even leeches have what's called an anticoagulant that doesn't allow your blood to clot. Now, sometimes even maggots can be used to eat dead tissue because they don't eat healthy tissue either. You ever heard of that? Right. But some people are so disgusted by maggots, they don't understand. While the maggot would only eat the dead tissue and leave the healthy tissue alive, right? Now, unless it's like those in freaking South America, they eat your ass. They don't give a damn if you're healthy or not. The bot fly, whatever it is, right? That motherfucker will just eat you alive and don't give a damn whether your tissue's healthy or not. That motherfucker eat your ass. Excuse my French there. They'll eat you alive. They eat you alive. hmm But usually a normal maggot don't do that. It just eats unhealthy, dead tissue, dead tissue. You forget that too. You forget that too. Now, if you're going to listen to everybody, listen to even your people struggling with mental illness, but who might have a different perspective to you. That don't mean I'm crazy. That means I might be considering something you're not, and that's why whatever's helping me get to this point is helping me get to this point too. So I might be more right than you want me to be. Now, that just means I know something about it you don't, like with Joseph maybe guessing why the famine would occur. Maybe he did look over the books like in the movies and the version of that story, right? Maybe he looked at the history of how long famines last or something in the past, right? And figured the dream had to do with an upcoming famine, and the gods were warning Pharaoh about it, right? They can do that sometimes. Now, the problem about some prophecies, Christians, is they can become self-fulfilling. See, if you let the book of Revelations happen yourselves, and you're warned by John that it'll happen because you're doing something wrong by now. If you don't figure out what you're doing wrong and you're still doing that wrong, that still happens, it's because of you it's happening. That's what John's saying, right? Then you can't blame nobody but yourself if it keeps happening, right? You're not doing what you're doing to prevent it. If you're to walk by faith and not by sight, what they left behind is to show you something in a written form. See, once you write something down, unless it's destroyed, right, by an enemy or something, it's basically practically, if you keep recording it and rewriting it and not let it diminish, right, and you keep writing everything that was written, right, and rewriting it, then you're doing what you're supposed to be doing with it too, right? But if you stop writing it suddenly, no one's going to even know it even existed, right? Once the last copy is out of print, right, is destroyed or something, right? But you do have to destroy it, right? It won't destroy itself either. Like with the burning of the Library of Alexandria, some people don't want you to know everything you know either. They're what you call dumbasses who want you to be a dumbass with them. These kind of people want martial law and to control the release of knowledge, which they can't do right now. That's why I know about hermaphrodites, and that the only place you can see one is in the porno. Right? But guess what? I saw a couple, a few of them in a porno. Right? They were even having sex with each other like an earthworm. Face to foot. Face to foot. Yep. Yep. See, an earthworm has sex backwards, right? Its head is in your feet. It's the feet of the other earthworm, and vice versa. Well, in the porn, the hermaphrodite was doing it that way with the other hermaphrodite. Like an earthworm. They can also do it missionary, doggy, and female on top. The position, by the way, crazy Christians who only do missionary ain't the problem. It's not the sex either. It's judging it, whether it's good or evil. What you're doing. That can become the sin, right? Because then you condemn it. See, if you condemn something, you're not only condemning the act, but you're condemning yourself for doing the act. Even if you're granted 120 years to do the act, you die because you're condemning yourself for it. And yet, God never condemns you. Satan does. But in condemning you, he's condemning himself to hell. Mm-hmm. And you with him. Mm-hmm. That's why you all die with Satan, right? And yes, Satan has to die. He went down to the grave. What do you think that means, right? The tree in Eden, you're behaving like, I don't know, whom all the other trees in the garden envy, which means the other angels who stood with him in Genesis 6, right? And fainted at him even, right? Angels can faint like human beings. Dumbass. But guess what? A tree can't faint. And in other words, it can't fall down and get back up. But a human being can't, right? And only a human being. So, trees don't faint. And blowing in the wind ain't fainting. The wind is blowing the tree. There's a reason. There's a reason. That's still not fainting. Fainting is where you fall over because some kind of blood rushes to your head and you fall over. You fall over. But you're not dead. You're not dead. Right. Only human beings can faint. Not trees. Not trees. It's Ezekiel bringing out the metaphor that the tree is really a human being, right? The tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that is, and the tree of life, right? Two of the trees, okay, were not trees in the traditional sense of the word, that they weren't grown from a seed, right? Which, if you're going to make a tree, you need either a seed or to make the tree as an adult where it can make something, right? Once you make it or speak it into existence, right? And again, right? Christians do act like God can form it in 24 hours by the spoken word, right? Which might be what you don't understand about it. But you also don't understand that we're going around in a circle, around and around and around and around the sun, right? And the sun's in the Milky Way galaxy, and it's going around and around and around in a circle. Well, do you really go anywhere when you go in a circle? No. No, you don't. You gotta go out. You gotta go out. If you go around